On a typical business day, millionaire businessman Thomas Grant entered one of his high-end stores in New York, specializing in luxury clothing, without any prior announcement. Thomas preferred to stay under the radar, occasionally showing up unannounced to ensure that everything was in order and that his employees delivered top-notch service. His sudden appearance was seen as a privilege by the staff, who knew that, in his presence, they had to maintain the utmost professionalism. Thomas, a man with fair skin and graying hair, quickly spotted his daughter, Maya, a young black woman in her early 20s who had always been interested in the business world. She had decided to work anonymously in one of her father's stores to experience customer service up close. That day, Maya was working as a sales associate in the accessories section, tucked away in a corner of the store. Curious, Thomas quietly made his way to the section when he suddenly noticed an uncomfortable scene. One of the managers, Sarah, was speaking to Maya in a rude and disdainful tone. "Maya, you can't seriously be this clueless about organizing a simple display." Sarah scoffed, her expression showing clear impatience. "This isn't some low-end store. Our clients are demanding, and you need to produce work that's worthy of a luxury brand." Thomas kept silent, his face beginning to harden. He'd never allowed his employees to be treated disrespectfully, and seeing his daughter go through this was deeply unsettling, especially knowing she had chosen this job humbly, with true dedication. Maya, visibly uncomfortable, tried to keep her composure. "I understand, Sarah, and I'm doing my best to meet the standard. I just thought that arranging the accessories this way might create a unique effect." Sarah, however, wasn't willing to listen. "Oh, you think you know better than me," she scoffed, crossing her arms and rolling her eyes. "Maybe you're in the wrong store. We're looking for people who actually understand our clientele." Thomas took a deep breath, trying to contain his anger. He knew he had to intervene, but he decided to observe a little longer before stepping in. After finishing her display adjustments, Maya quietly moved away, maintaining her composure, though clearly worn out by the humiliation. Thomas could see this was his moment to act, but he decided to do it in a way that wouldn't reveal he was Maya's father. He walked calmly to the main counter, where Sarah was assisting another customer. Approaching her with his typically imposing presence, Thomas posed a direct question. "I'd like to speak with the manager in charge. Who's responsible here today?" Sarah looked up, visibly pleased to assist a client who appeared influential, unaware she was face-to-face with the store owner himself. She adjusted her hair with a calculated smile. "That would be me, sir. Sarah Turner, General Manager. How may I assist you?" Thomas offered a cold smile and crossed his arms, staring at her directly. "I noticed you were speaking with an employee earlier, a young woman arranging a display. What's her name?" Sarah hesitated, surprised by the question, but responded in what she thought was a professional tone. "Oh, yes, Maya. She's new here and still adjusting," she said, with a subtle but unmistakable hint of disdain. Thomas continued, without breaking eye contact. "I see. And do you think the tone you used with her was appropriate? I noticed you spoke to her rather harshly. Is that the standard of service you use with clients as well?" Sarah paled, realizing this conversation was taking an unexpected turn. She hesitated, unsure of what to say. "Well, sir, I was only trying to correct some mistakes. Our store prides itself on excellence, and it's important that everyone is aligned with that. Maya, well, she's still learning." Thomas took a step closer, his voice low but firm. "I think you should be more respectful to everyone who works here, especially those who are still learning. Our standard of excellence, as far as I know, includes respect and empathy for everyone." Now visibly flustered, Sarah tried to regain her composure. "Of course, sir. It was just a misunderstanding. I didn't mean to be disrespectful." Thomas looked around, noticing that a few employees and customers were beginning to sense the tension. Maintaining his calm demeanor, he finished. "I trust you understand my point." He paused and added with a steely gaze, and I'd like a detailed report on the training practices and treatment of staff here." Without waiting for a response, Thomas turned away from Sarah and walked over to Maya, who was quietly working in the accessories section, her gaze discreetly monitoring the exchange between her father and the manager. "Maya, is everything all right here?" he asked, his tone calm but firm. She looked at him, recognizing the support in his eyes. Maya looked at her father, sensing he was there to support her but still maintaining the anonymity she had chosen when she started working there. With a subtle nod, she tried to smile, though discomfort was clear on her face. Sarah's words still echoed painfully in her mind. "Yes, everything is fine, sir," she replied, keeping a polite and professional tone. "I just need to adjust a few things on the display, as requested." Thomas observed her closely, recognizing how much this job meant to her. He knew she wanted to prove herself, without relying on the family name, and he respected that. However, seeing his daughter humiliated in such a way hurt him deeply. He knew he had to find a way to confront the manager without exposing Maya's identity. As he was reflecting, an elegant customer approached Maya. The woman wore subtle but refined jewelry and an expensive dress, her expression full of disdain as she looked Maya up and down before speaking. "Miss, I asked to see the diamond necklace from the exclusive collection. I don't understand why you're taking so long." "Time is money, you know," said the woman impatiently, her tone carrying a subtle condescension. Maya, unbothered, responded politely, "Of course, ma'am. My apologies for the wait. I'll bring the necklace over right away." She walked quickly to the display, retrieving the necklace and placing it on a tray for the client. Just as she was about to present it, Sarah reappeared, interrupting her. "Maya, are you really going to show that necklace to her?" Sarah whispered, leaning in but loud enough for the customer to hear. "You know it's a high-value piece, and we can't risk just anyone touching it. I'll handle this myself since I have more experience." The customer looked taken aback and offended by Sarah's insinuation, but kept her composure. Maya, unsure how to react, glanced at the manager, trying to understand the situation. Thomas, observing from afar, saw the discomfort of both the client and his daughter. He could no longer contain his frustration with Sarah's discriminatory behavior. Deciding to address it directly, he approached with undeniable authority. "Excuse me, Sarah," Thomas said, interrupting her with an imposing tone. "It seems there's been a misunderstanding. Who is responsible for the exclusive jewelry section?" Sarah froze, feeling vulnerable under Thomas's stern gaze. She knew he was a high-profile customer, but she was unaware of his true identity. Taking a deep breath, she attempted to answer firmly. "I am, sir. But I'm just supervising the team. Our store has a standard, and only the most experienced employees handle high-value items." Thomas crossed his arms, his disapproval deepening. "And who decides who's qualified to handle valuable pieces?" he asked, his voice calm but cutting. Sarah stammered, struggling to respond. "Well, I decide, sir. I have experience here, and I know what's best for the store's image." The customer, clearly uncomfortable, interjected, "Excuse me, I don't think I'll be receiving the level of service I expected. I'll look for another store where clients are valued, regardless of who is serving them." Maya tried to intervene, hoping to de-escalate the situation. "Ma'am, please accept my apologies. I can assure you our service will meet your expectations." Thomas took the opportunity to call everyone's attention. "Miss Maya is more than capable of assisting you, and in fact, she has my complete trust." He looked directly at Sarah and, in an unexpected move, said, "I am deeply disappointed by the lack of professionalism I witnessed today. I expected more from a manager who should represent the values of my company." Sarah's face turned white as she realized the truth. Your company?" Sarah's face went even paler as she grasped Thomas's revelation. She was standing before the actual owner of the store chain, the man to whom she owed her job and who now watched her with utter disappointment. She tried to recover but found herself at a loss for words. Mr. Grant. I didn't realize, she stammered, desperately searching for an explanation that might save her from the humiliation she felt. Thomas, keeping his firm stance, cut off any attempt at an excuse with a piercing look. That much is clear, Sarah. And perhaps that's exactly the problem, he stated, his voice laden with disappointment. If I weren't here, how many more times would you have treated employees like this? Or worse, customers? Now desperate, Sarah turned to Maya, attempting to justify herself. Maya, you know it wasn't my intention. It's just that, well, I wanted to ensure everything was perfect. This is a luxury store, and not everyone is prepared to handle certain clients. Maya, still visibly uncomfortable, took a deep breath and looked at her father, uncertain of how to respond. She wanted to resolve things without exposing herself, but the situation had escalated beyond her control. Seeing Sarah's desperate attempt to manipulate the situation, Maya decided to speak up, her voice steady and clear. Sarah, when I started here, you told me this store was a place for learning and growth. But so far, what I've seen is someone more concerned with appearances of control than with treating others with respect. And what happened today with that client shows that it's not just with me that you act this way. Thomas watched Maya with a mix of pride and sadness. He knew how hard she had tried to remain professional, but he could also see how heavily this situation weighed on her. Sarah, this is an opportunity for you to reflect on what it means to lead a team, Thomas said, his gaze fixed on her. A true leader teaches and inspires, not humiliates or belittles. Sarah tried to justify herself once more, but Thomas raised his hand, indicating he had heard enough. He then addressed the employees who had silently watched the scene unfold, all visibly tense but attentive. To all of you who work hard in this store, know that you have my respect. I value the effort and dedication of each one of you, regardless of your position. If anyone here is dealing with similar issues, don't hesitate to come to me. After these words, Thomas turned to Maya and, in an unexpected gesture, placed a hand on her shoulder. Maya, you didn't need to go through this to show your worth. You demonstrate that every day, with your hard work and dedication. And that is what a true leader seeks in their team. Maya nodded, feeling a tremendous weight lift off her shoulders. She knew that the situation was far from resolved, but she finally felt acknowledged for her efforts. Thomas turned to Sarah one last time. Sarah, you'll be relieved of your managerial duties in this store over the next few days while we evaluate your leadership practices and conduct. Sarah tried to protest, but Thomas cut her off with a stern look. Take this time to reflect on your actions and what it really means to be a leader in this company. Sarah felt a mixture of shame and humiliation, but she knew that nothing she could say would change Thomas's decision. He had seen enough, and her colleagues had witnessed her behavior with Maya and other employees countless times before. Quietly, she grabbed her purse, gave Thomas and Maya one last look, and left the store visibly embarrassed. As Sarah walked out the doors, the employees, who had remained silent until now, began exchanging looks. The atmosphere, previously tense and uncomfortable, shifted to one of palpable relief. Maya felt a huge weight lift from her shoulders, realizing that things could finally start to change. Thomas, sensing the mood, addressed everyone again, this time with a more encouraging tone. I know what happened here today was intense and unexpected, but let this serve as a reminder of the importance of a respectful and professional work environment. I want all of you to know that you have my full support to keep this store as it always should have been, a place of collaboration and respect. The employees, now more at ease, nodded, and some even smiled discreetly. One of them, Kevin, a longtime employee in the footwear section, gathered the courage to approach Thomas and say, "Thank you for this, Mr. Grant. We've all gone through similar situations with manager Sarah, but no one ever had the courage to speak up. Today, we finally feel heard." Thomas nodded, understanding Kevin's sentiment. He looked around at the remaining employees and realized that this team needed a leadership that motivated and respected them. "From now on," Thomas continued, "I'll make sure to closely follow each of your developments and ensure that our workplace is fair and respectful. If you ever need to talk or share a concern, know that my door is always open." Maya, observing the reaction of her colleagues, felt deep gratitude for her father. Even though she had wanted to be treated as just another employee, it was undeniable that his presence had transformed the situation in a way she could never have done alone. For the first time, she was relieved that Thomas had stepped in. After a brief silence, Thomas turned directly to Maya. "Maya, I'd like to talk with you in my office before you leave. Can you join me?" Maya nodded, understanding that this conversation was inevitable. Thomas led her to a private room at the back of the store, where there was a small meeting table and a few chairs. Once inside, he closed the door, creating a private space for them to talk openly. Thomas began, his voice now soft and full of affection. "Maya, I never wanted to interfere with your decision to work here. I've always admired your independence and your desire to learn everything on your own. But seeing what happened today," he paused, visibly emotional. "I can't understand how you endured that kind of treatment without saying anything." Maya lowered her gaze, feeling the weight of her father's concern, but still determined to explain her choice. "Dad, I knew this job would be tough, but that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to know what it's like to be on the other side, just another employee without our family name. I wanted to learn, to challenge myself." But, she hesitated, searching for the right words. "But I didn't expect to encounter this kind of behavior, especially from someone who should lead by example." Thomas sighed, understanding her dilemma. "I understand, Maya. And I also understand that you wanted to prove yourself without needing my support. But no one, absolutely no one, deserves to be treated like that. Least of all you, who came here to learn." Maya smiled slightly, feeling her father's support as a comfort she needed, even though she had been reluctant to accept it before. "Thank you for protecting me, Dad. I think I was trying to prove to myself that I could handle everything on my own. Maybe I was a little proud," she admitted with a slight humor. Thomas smiled, pulling up a chair and sitting next to her. "It wasn't pride, it was courage. And I'm very proud of that, Maya. You showed integrity and strength, qualities few can demonstrate in situations like this." They sat in silence for a few moments until Maya asked, "And now? What happens to the store and the employees?" Thomas pondered for a moment before replying, "We'll reorganize. I don't just want to remove Sarah from management. I want this place to become an example of ethics and respect in the workplace. And if you're willing, I'd like you to be a more active part of this." Maya's eyes sparkled at the offer. Maya's heart raced at her father's proposal. He was inviting her to a leadership role, to help transform the store environment, not just as an employee, but as someone who could make a real difference. It was a huge responsibility, but the idea of contributing to positive change excited her. "I accept, Dad," she replied, containing a determined smile. "But I want to do it my way. I want the employees to see me as a colleague, someone who understands what it's like to be in their position. I don't want privileges." Thomas smiled, proud of his daughter's integrity. "That's exactly what I hope to hear. You'll have all the support you need, but we'll do things your way. I believe this team needs someone who understands their challenges and goes through what they do." In the following days, Maya began implementing a series of changes in the store. With Sarah's absence as she awaited relocation, Maya and Thomas agreed to reorganize the team. Instead of simply following orders from above, she made a point to listen to each employee, asking about their struggles and ideas to improve the work environment. Gradually, Maya gained everyone's trust, including those who had previously hesitated to open up. Kevin, the employee who had expressed his gratitude to Thomas, became one of Maya's main supporters, helping to convey to other colleagues the respect she demonstrated in each decision. "I always thought we'd never see real changes here, Maya," Kevin confided during one of their breaks together. "But you're proving us wrong. It's not easy being in charge, but you're showing that you care about each one of us." Maya smiled, feeling truly fulfilled for the first time since she had started working in the store. The truth, Kevin, is that I've gone through the same challenges. I know what it's like not to be heard, and I believe this store needs to be a place where everyone feels valued. And we'll keep building something meaningful for everyone. Over the weeks, the change in the store's atmosphere began to reflect on the customers themselves. With a more motivated and respected team, customer service improved significantly. Long-time clients started noticing the difference, many commenting on how the store felt more welcoming and friendly. One day, while Maya was arranging a new display with Kevin and other colleagues, she heard a familiar voice calling her name. It was Sarah, who had returned to pick up some belongings she had left in the store. She looked hesitant, almost embarrassed, as she approached. "Maya, may I speak with you for a moment?" Sarah asked, her voice more subdued than Maya had ever heard. Maya nodded, exchanging a look with Kevin, who respectfully stepped away to give them privacy. Sarah took a deep breath before continuing. I wanted to apologize for what happened. I acted recklessly, treating you and others in ways I never should have. I guess over time, I let the power go to my head and forgot the value of the people around me. I'm ashamed and just wanted you to know I'm truly sorry. Maya observed Sarah for a moment, assessing the sincerity in her eyes. She knew that an apology wouldn't erase what had happened, but she also understood that this apology was an important step. "Sarah, I accept your apology," Maya said calmly. "And I hope you have the opportunity to reflect and grow from this. I believe everyone deserves a second chance if they're willing to learn from their mistakes." Sarah looked relieved but also touched by Maya's words. She nodded, trying to hold back emotion. "Thank you, Maya. Really. I wish you and the store all the best. You're doing something incredible here." Maya watched her leave, feeling at peace. That chapter was finally closing. She knew the journey was just beginning, but with each accomplishment, she felt she was building something meaningful, both for herself and for her colleagues. At the end of the day, Thomas visited the store again. He approached Maya, seeing the glow of satisfaction on her face. "It looks like you're getting exactly what you wanted, isn't it?" he remarked, smiling with pride. Maya nodded. "I am. And all of this is more than I could have imagined." Maya felt immense satisfaction seeing the changes in the store and the positive impact on her colleagues. The team was more united and motivated. The work environment transformed into a place of respect and cooperation, and customers could sense the difference in service. It was a clear reflection of Maya's commitment to creating something authentic and respectful. Thomas watched from afar, proud, feeling that his daughter hadn't just taken advantage of an opportunity but had exceeded all expectations. A few weeks after Sarah's departure, Thomas decided to organize a special meeting with the entire team to recognize the positive impact of the changes. He asked Maya to give a speech, highlighting teamwork and each employee's contributions. Nervous but confident, Maya prepared herself to speak to the team. When the time came, she took a deep breath and began. "I want to thank each of you. You believed in me and in the possibility of creating something new, and this store today is the result of our collective efforts." She smiled, looking at Kevin and other colleagues who watched her with pride and admiration. "I've learned so much from each of you, and I hope we continue together, growing and supporting each other." The employees applauded warmly, acknowledging her leadership and respect for all. Thomas, standing beside her, waited for the applause to die down before taking the floor, full of emotion. "Maya, seeing what you've done for this store and for this team makes me prouder than ever. You are a leader, not because you carry my name, but because you show respect, empathy, and courage. And today, I want to announce that from now on, you will officially take on the position of manager for this location." The employees applauded again, and Maya was visibly moved by the announcement. She hadn't expected her father to promote her so definitively, but looking at him, she realized that his trust wasn't just paternalism. She had earned it. Thomas continued. "I know that everyone here will have in Maya someone who represents and values them. And Maya, I can't wait to see what you'll accomplish next." He paused, looking at his daughter with a proud smile. You've brought new life to this store, and that's exactly what we need in each of our businesses." After the meeting, as employees congratulated her, Maya felt a sense of lightness and a sense of accomplishment she had never experienced. Kevin and other colleagues greeted her, and he, smiling, joked, "I don't think we've ever had a manager like this before. Thank you, Maya, for everything." Later, Maya and Thomas were alone in the now-closed store, tidying up the last details of the day. She looked at him and, emotionally, thanked him. "Dad, thank you for believing in me, even when I had doubts myself. None of this would have been possible without your support." Thomas placed his hand on her shoulder and smiled. "The trust one placed in you has always been there, Maya. I just needed you to discover it for yourself. Leadership, integrity, and respect are your greatest legacy, and that's worth more than any material wealth." They hugged, moved. Maya knew that this was the beginning of something far greater than just a position. It was the start of a leadership journey she would build with solid values and respect for everyone. With the revitalized store, a united team, and her father's support, Maya was ready to leave her mark in the business world, and to do it her own way. The success of the changes Maya implemented in the store was undeniable. The team had become more united and motivated. The work environment transformed into a place of respect and cooperation, and customers could sense the difference in the service. It was a clear reflection of Maya's dedication to creating something authentic and humane. Thomas observed from a distance, proud of his daughter, knowing that she hadn't just taken advantage of an opportunity. She had exceeded all expectations. A few weeks after Sarah's departure, Thomas decided to organize a special meeting with the entire team to recognize the positive impact of the recent changes. He asked Maya to give a speech, highlighting teamwork and the contributions of each employee. Nervous but confident, Maya prepared her words. When the time came, she took a deep breath and began. "I want to thank each one of you. You believed in me and in the possibility of creating something new, and what we have today is the result of our collective effort." She smiled, looking at Kevin and other colleagues, who watched her with pride and admiration. "I've learned so much from each of you, and I hope we continue to grow and support one another." The employees responded with warm applause, acknowledging her leadership and her respect for everyone. Thomas, standing beside her, waited for the applause to quiet down and then spoke, his voice filled with emotion. "Maya, seeing what you've accomplished for this store and this team makes me prouder than ever. You're a leader, not because you carry my last name, but because you demonstrate respect, empathy, and courage. And today, I want to announce that, from now on, you will officially be the manager of this location." The employees erupted into applause once again, and Maya was visibly moved by the announcement. She hadn't expected her father to make such a definitive promotion, but looking at him, she realized that his trust was genuine. Thomas continued, "I know that everyone here will find in Maya a leader who represents and values them. And, Maya, I'm looking forward to seeing what you'll accomplish next." He paused, smiling proudly at his daughter. "You've brought new life to this store, and that's exactly what we need in all our businesses." After the meeting, as her colleagues congratulated her, Maya felt a lightness and sense of fulfillment that she had never experienced before. Kevin and other co-workers greeted her, and Kevin, smiling, joked, "I don't think we've ever had a manager like this before. Thank you, Maya, for everything." Later, Maya and Thomas stayed behind in the now-closed store, putting away the final items for the day. She looked at him, and with emotion in her voice, she said, "Dad, thank you for believing in me, even when I had doubts myself. None of this would have been possible without your support." Thomas placed a hand on her shoulder and smiled. "The trust one had in you was always there, Maya. I just needed you to discover it for yourself. Leadership, integrity, and respect are your greatest legacy, and that's worth more than any material wealth." They hugged, both of them moved. Maya knew that this was the beginning of something far greater than just a job title. It was the start of a leadership journey she would build with solid values and respect for everyone around her. With the store revitalized, a united team, and her father's support, Maya was ready to leave her mark on the business world, and do it her way.